This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Lenovo ThinkCentre M90N Nano. A lot of words for an incredibly tiny PC. In fact, this is from their M series tiny PC line. So we've seen Intel NUCs, which are little bare bones PCs that you can put your own RAM and SSD in, and maybe even you'll find one that's pre-configured. So with the ThinkCentre, which is part of Lenovo's business lineup, just like the ThinkPad laptops are, you get it with the RAM, the SSD, the Windows operating system, and all that sort of thing. So we have Intel 8th generation quad-core Ultrabook CPUs inside of this. It's really, I've been doing this for years, and it still has to amaze me the fact that here is an iPhone 11 Pro Max. This is a PC. Wow, we're going to look at it now. So who needs a tiny PC? Well, I leave that up to you. If you look at that and say, oh my God, I have the perfect use case for that, well, then it's for you. Obviously, it's for any constrained office space. It's for those of you who are looking for a media center sort of thing. Put it by your TV, takes up very little space. You get the idea. I mean, the ThinkCentre line is business oriented. That doesn't mean that anybody can buy it who has a use for it. It's just as powerful as a typical Intel 8th generation Ultrabook. It does use the same CPUs. In fact, you can get this with Core i3, i5, and i7 CPUs, including vPro options, given that this is a business line, and that's why we're still on the Intel 8th gen, because Intel 10th gen doesn't have vPro available yet. It has Intel UHD 620 integrated graphics. You can get it with 8 or 16 gigs of RAM, and that RAM is soldered on, unlike some more enthusiast-oriented Intel NUCs where you have actual RAM slots and you can upgrade it yourself. It's soldered here. There are two M.2 NVMe slots. I would love to show you the insides of this. There's supposed to be one Phillips head screw in the bottom, and you can open it up, but it came to us with that screw head pre-stripped, so can't get out, can't show you, but the Lenovo service manual says that's what you got inside, and in fact, you can order it with 2 SSDs if you want. And it has an Intel 9560 AC Wi-Fi card that is socketed with Bluetooth 5. It's a good card. I don't think you're going to be wanting to upgrade that anytime soon. With a Core i3, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 256 gig SSD, this starts at around $519, which is relatively cheap for these things. These things may be tiny, but they are very rarely inexpensive. Our model with the Core i5, the non-vPro Core i5, 8 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD, they'll set you back around $780 or so, $724 if you're good with the 256 gig SSD or you plan to upgrade it yourself afterwards. It comes with a Lenovo keyboard and mouse, and for $20 more you can get the wireless option, which is what Lenovo sent us. A little dongle transceiver plugs into one of the USB ports on this, and they work. The keyboard may not feel like weighty, premium quality, but it has that nice ThinkPad kind of travel and feel that's good. So if you're a Lenovo person, you'll like it. This is going to make you wonder why 13-inch Ultrabooks can't have more ports, honestly. So on this thing, which really doesn't have even as much volume as some 13-inch laptops in terms of what it can hold, we have a lot of ports here. You have 4 USB-A 3.1 Gen 2 ports, 2 USB-C Gen 2 ports, but no Thunderbolt 3, alas. You have a full-size display port. You have an Ethernet jack with gigabit Ethernet on board as well, and a headphone jack too. And Lenovo sells a variety of USB-C dongles if you need HDMI out or what have you. They're about $15 a piece, or if you already have them yourself, you can use those as well. So connectivity is definitely a plus. Another thing I like with this is that it actually has a Wi-Fi antenna. It comes in the box, screws right on there, so better reception than some of the other tiny boxes out there, because obviously there's not a lot of room to run an antenna, even compared to a laptop, which has a big display frame to put an antenna around. The display is not included, but there's the ThinkCentre tiny in-one monitor. So that thing actually has an enclosure on the back where you can drop this PC inside. If you don't want to get one of those monitors, you can get a VESA mount for this if you want to mount it to the back side of your monitor, or obviously tuck it anywhere that you want. Heat and noise on this, I was actually pretty impressed, because given the fact that there isn't a lot of internal volume in here, sometimes these little tiny PCs or NUCs can get pretty hot. Temperatures on this were not bad. The fan, if you really push it hard, you'll hear it, but it's not a big fan. You won't hear it a lot. And it doesn't get burning hot to the touch, so I'm not afraid to stick it in with my other audio components, for example, in a home theater system. And in terms of core temperatures, it's sort of like a typical Ultrabook. When we're running benchmarks like PC Mark 10, it mostly is in the 60s and sometimes in the 70s centigrade for the core temperatures. It'll spike to 95 at the most intense part, as, well, every Ultrabook on the market does. So thermals are well controlled here. So experientially, what is this good for? How well does it perform? Again, like your average 13 or 15-inch Ultrabook running on the same CPUs, which is to say it's great for Office, it's great for streaming Netflix. It's actually fine for things like Excel and moderate number crunching, and I've even used it with Adobe Photoshop, even though we have the only 8 gigs of RAM model. At least it's dual channel, DDR4 RAM, by the way. And it was absolutely fine and snappy. And since it's a ThinkCentre product, you don't get a lot of crapware on it, nothing to slow it down. So yeah, it's pretty darn capable. So that's the Lenovo ThinkCentre M90N tiny PC. And boy, yes, it is tiny. It is nano, as they call it. So if you're looking for something that's turnkey, that you can just buy, complete with all the internal hardware you need and the operating system, well, this one's pretty nice. It's one of the smallest out there as well. Granted, HP has their own elite little PCs to compete with this. There's Intel with the NUCs that are more bare bones oriented. You build them yourself, you know. But this one has a lot of good ports on it. I like the fact that it has the Wi-Fi antenna even. Like I said, it's pretty compelling if you're looking for something pretty tiny. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos and do hit that notification bell.